Hello and welcome to Debating the Divine. Today's program is about a conversation between Prophet Muhammad and a group of Jewish scholars who had a particular claim about Prophet Ezra. The Jewish scholars had come to see the Prophet and wanted him to accept their claim that Prophet Ezra was a son of God. They said to him,
If you accept that Prophet Ezra was a son of God, that means you must also admit that our religion, Judaism, is better than your religion, Islam.
They also said,
If you don't agree with us right now, then we want to debate this point with you.
Prophet Muhammad replied that they would have to prove this matter to him, and so they entered into a debate. The scholars proceeded to present their argument for their claim. What they said was this:
It is Prophet Ezra who brought the Torah to life for us Jews, and we say that he therefore must be the son of God.
Prophet Muhammad counter-argued that it was Prophet Moses who had originally brought the Torah for the Jews. He asked of the scholars why they were not considering Prophet Moses to be the son of God, for surely he had brought the greater miracle, namely the Torah itself. He reminded the Jewish scholars that Moses had brought many miracles with him. He also queried that if they meant by the word son that God had taken for himself a wife and produced an offspring in that way, then that would amount to negating belief in God. It would amount to comparing God to his creatures and giving him an attribute that is reserved for his creation, namely being born and coming into existence. The Jews replied to him,
Yes, we definitely agree with you on that. We didn't mean to attribute to God any qualities that are reserved for his creation. That's not how we meant the word son.
Then they said,
We were using the word son in the sense of addressing another person by my son, to express respect and appreciation of that person. For example, a scholar could call someone else my son to confer status on that person, even though the two of them are not related by blood.
Prophet Muhammad disagreed with this reasoning, and he pointed out that if they wanted to use my son in this way, then Moses still has greater claim to being called the son of God because of his greater status near God. The Prophet turned the argument around on the Jewish scholars and started to explain to them the fallacies in their argument. He repeated their line of reasoning, which was that A high-ranking person can call someone else their son. B, this word is used out of respect. The Prophet then pointed out that surely the higher the status of the person, shouldn't a higher title be used conferring greater respect on that person? He then continued along this line of argument and said to the Jews that as it is proven that Moses' rank was higher, it would be appropriate then to use the term brother of God, or leader, or master, or father of God for Moses. Prophet Muhammad summed up his argument based on the reasoning that the Jews had used, that if Ezra is the son of God, then based on Moses' rank, he should be given the title leader or Lord of God. He then asked directly of the Jewish scholars if they thought this was correct, that we call Moses the brother or leader or uncle or boss of God. Was this acceptable? The Jews didn't know how to respond to this question by Prophet Muhammad and were quite baffled and even worried, obviously, at the implications of the line of reasoning they had used. They asked of the Prophet,
Could you please give us some time to think about how to respond to what you have just said?
The Prophet was more than happy to grant them some time for reflection and debate amongst themselves, and he did advise them to think the matter over with what he called an unbiased heart. He also expressed the hope that God would show them the correct path. Indeed, within 3 days, the Jews converted to Islam. That was it for today, and remember to look out for our next episode on Debating the Divine.